They call Earth the defenseless planet, a fragile sphere of blue and green, floating in the endless dark. From above, it looks ordinary, too small, too loud, too emotional. But the universe whispers its name with hesitation. No one dares to touch it. No empire claims it. No army invades it. For centuries, my people, the astral dominion, have watched it in silence. We are older than their sun, stronger than their storms, wiser than their gods. We've conquered worlds that burned brighter and lived longer. Yet Earth remains untouched. Why? That question was my mission. The Council summoned me, Orion Kane, observer of Sector 9. They told me to find the truth behind humanity's shield. Not their weapons, not their machines, but whatever it is that keeps invaders away. Observe, record, report, they said. And above all, do not feel. I promised obedience. But deep down, a spark of curiosity flickered, something dangerous in our kind. When I left the Dominion, the void was quiet. Stars drifted like frozen embers. I wondered if any of them had ever felt fear, the kind that hides behind fascination. When my vessel entered Earth's orbit, I expected chaos, noise, interference. Instead, I found rhythm. Thunder rolled beneath white clouds. Oceans pulsed like heartbeats. The planet breathed, alive in every layer. Even silence had sound here. I descended over a desert at dawn. My craft melted through the atmosphere, disguised among their satellites and falling debris. When I stepped onto the surface, sand shifted beneath my feet like memory. The sun was too warm. The air, too human. I walked until I reached the edges of their civilization. Cities carved in steel and smoke. Lights blinked like constellations trapped in glass. Voices overlapped. Laughter, anger, songs, prayers. Each emotion, raw, unfiltered. It was overwhelming. To me, emotion had always been noise. To them, it was language. I began my silent observation. At first, it was simple. I studied behavior, trade, movement, conflict. I recorded every act of violence, every act of kindness. The same species capable of burning their world could cradle a dying animal in their arms moments later. They confused me. They scared me. And slowly, they intrigued me. Humans live like falling stars, burning fast, shining briefly, yet refusing to fade quietly. They know they're mortal, and maybe that's why they live so loudly. Days passed in disguise. I learned to mimic their form, a tall figure, dark hair, eyes like any other. They never questioned me. To them, I was just another stranger passing by. But one evening, everything changed. She found me at the observatory, the human named Lyra Hale. She was looking at the same stars that had sent me here. Her voice broke the silence like sunlight piercing through fog. "Do you ever wonder," she said, "if someone up there is watching us?" The irony almost made me smile, though I didn't yet know how. If she only knew the answer, standing right beside her. I replied simply, "Would it matter if they were?" She turned toward me, eyes reflecting the constellations she loved. "It would," she said, "because maybe they'd see something worth saving." That line lingered in me for hours. Something worth saving. We, the Dominion, never save. We conquer, catalog, consume. And yet, here was this fragile creature, believing her kind might be worth saving. I returned to my quarters that night and recorded my first report. To the Council, I described their world, unstable governments, divided nations, emotional chaos. Everything about them screamed vulnerability. And yet they thrived. I hesitated before closing the file. I wanted to write what I felt, not what I saw. But feelings were forbidden. So I erased the line that began with, "They survive because they love." Instead, I ended the report with cold precision. Observation incomplete. Further study required. The next night, I returned to the observatory. She was there again. She always was. Lyra worked alone, surrounded by maps of galaxies she could never reach. She greeted me like an old friend, though we'd barely spoken. Humans are strange that way. They bond through presence, not time. "What brings you here again?" she asked. "I am studying," he replied. "Studying what?" "Humanity." She laughed softly. "Good luck with that. We're not exactly easy to understand." Her laugh, it did something inside me. A vibration, a frequency not measured by any instrument I carried. We talked until the night surrendered to morning. About stars, about science, about fear. She told me she was searching for signs of life beyond Earth. I listened, hiding the truth that life beyond Earth was already listening to her. When she smiled, the dawn reflected in her eyes. I memorized the pattern of light across her face. For data, I told myself. But it wasn't data. It was beauty. I began returning every night. Each time, she asked more questions about time, destiny, why humans destroy what they love. I answered with silence more often than not. Silence, she once said, is also an answer. Days became weeks. My reports grew shorter. My observations, less objective. Instead of documenting war or politics, I wrote about her. Her curiosity, her voice, her defiance against insignificance. The council would not approve, but something inside me no longer cared. One evening, as the wind howled outside the observatory dome, she looked at me differently. There was recognition, not of who I was, but of what I felt. "You look like someone carrying a secret," she said. I turned away. "Maybe I am." "Then tell me," she whispered. "What are you really looking for up there?" I thought of my mission, my world, my duty. Then I thought of her. "Truth," I said softly, "and maybe something I lost." She smiled faintly. "We're all looking for that." That night, for the first time, I dreamed. Our kind doesn't dream. But I saw oceans made of starlight and her standing at their edge, reaching out to me. When I woke, my heart, or whatever organ served as one, was racing. The next day, I couldn't focus. Her words, her voice, her existence occupied every frequency of thought. I'd become infected, not with a virus, but with humanity. I tried to resist it. I rewatched transmissions from my world. The emotionless council chambers, the sterile skies, the perfect silence. And I realized something terrifying. My home felt dead. This world, this chaotic planet, pulsed with life. I began to wonder if perhaps the reason no one invaded Earth was because those who tried never wanted to leave.